All right, so this is part 3 of transcending, accepting, transmuting, healing, however we want to say it, the ego. Now, I have some previous podcasts in what was I dubbed the Dark to Light series, Consumer to Creator, and they're still going to be on this channel. I'm going to put them in their own little folder, but those were the first podcasts that I started doing, and they were long, and I was going into them without any really kind of like specific. I'm not sure really. I was trying to basically make them. I'm working on a book, and I was trying to kind of put the book out there, and I don't think there was enough practical material in it, so I'm just redoing all of it. So the material in those will be repeated, interspersed throughout these podcasts, but these ones are going to be more specific. So, for example, I have a conflict resolution mini series. This is overcoming the ego mini series. I'm going to have dealing with ascension symptoms, upsets, I call them, stuff like that. So that would be like little chunks of anywhere from 2 to 5, or even as little as 1 episode. And so this one's going to be the continuance of the overcoming the ego. So I'm going to repeat some stuff I said before. Now, the 5 rings of consciousness, as I call them, some people could look at them kind of as the 5 dimensions of what you are as a person. And what's really funny is, and I've said this, I said this in my conflict resolution podcast, but I'll kind of reiterate a little bit. The body, there's the 5 stages. There's what you do, okay, and what you do, you think you're doing because you're reacting to what the world's doing, right? But you have to look at the way things work, kind of like if you had a bucket of water, and if you drop the pebble into that bucket, it's going to make little ripples that are going to go out. They're going to radiate outwards from that center, and then they're going to bounce off of the walls of the bucket, and then they're going to come back. And so if you drop another pebble in the bucket, then it's going to radiate out and it's going to hit that previous one. And that's kind of what's happening. So look at the outside world kind of like the ripple that's coming back to you from a previously dropped pebble. So when that comes back, it's going to meet the outermost ripple, right? That outermost ripple is what you did, what you're doing. The ripple that precedes that was your intent. You had an intention, and then the body acted based on that intention. Before the intention was a feeling. All right, so a feeling happened. Either the feeling was one of leaning in the direction of love. And so, by the way, the ingredients of love are simply this. Prudence, and a lot of them are the virtues. I've added some. Prudence, temperance, wisdom, diligence, courage, kindness, patience, understanding, gratitude, flexibility, compassion, resolve, ambition, and passion. Right. So you have 6 of them for yourself and 6 for the world. So the 6 for yourself are prudence, temperance, diligence, or you could say courage, wisdom, serenity, and then you also have resolve, ambition, and passion. And then for the world, you have kindness, patience, charity, compassion, gratitude, and flexibility. What's really cool about that too, if you look at them, they're actually inverted opposites of each other. And when you look into the universe and how things work, you're going to find that everything is like that. There's always inversions. There's always reflections or projected inversions. Right. So anyway, so that's the ingredients of love. So love for yourself is prudence, diligence, temperance, ambition, resolve, and passion. Love for the world is kindness, patience, charity, compassion, gratitude, and flexibility. And then you have the one at the center of them all, which is the core, the one that connects you to God, and that's humility. And to me, humility is the realization, or the degree in which you have a realization that you are not just this separate animal on this rock floating around, but that you are interconnected with all things. And that the force, you can call it what you want. If you want to look at it from a scientific perspective, it's the force of life. If you want to look at it from a spiritual level, it's love. If you want to look at it from a religious level, it's God. Regardless, it's in all things. And if you really try to do the math and look at it, I could do a whole podcast on this. You can't see where life ends and you begin. You can't see where love ends and you begin. You can't see where God ends and you begin. Which means that it is equally prevalent in all things. Life is equally prevalent in all things. Life and all things in life. It's like a rock on the ground is just as much a part of life as a thing that's moving around. It is life. It is existence. It is the realm of matter. It is reality. It's everything, energy. That you could look at it like energy. The same energy that fuels me fuels you. That's humility. And it was a lesson for me. I had many humbling experiences. As I went on my spiritual journey, I started getting all this information in my meditations. I was able to help people heal themselves, which should be nothing short of a miracle. And it did. It started to get to my head, and I started thinking maybe that I was more spiritual, blah, 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 more special. And I realized that even that everything that was around me was contributing to me. Anything bad that ever happened to me and everything good that happened to me, combined with how I chose to interpret it, and it created who I am right now. So if I thought, hey, Brian, you're a super spiritual person because you can do these cool things and you know stuff. Well, the person who was mean to me that made me look inwards, quote unquote mean to me, that made me look inwards was just as helpful as the person I may have heard that said something like my sister that brought me to church begrudgingly. What's the difference? They're just as equal to me. And that's what humility is. And that's what it means when they say when Jesus says, love God first. Loving God first is loving life, loving the universe, loving the energy. It's humility. It's knowing that, I'm playing my role. I believe everything exists. And this moment is but a speck on the mosaic that is the all. And my color, because of what the role that I am playing in existence, may be blue or green. And someone else who's causing somebody else to go within, even though they may seem like a quote-unquote bad or evil person, if we look at everything like it's infinite, they're helping that person's soul progression and helping them to go inward. Because I can tell you, I can't tell you, I would not change a single thing that happened to me in the past because it was my experience. It helped create what I am, and I love myself, and I love my world. How could I think anything? And if I could go back in time and change it, I don't exist anymore. They were necessary ingredients, all of them. And that's what the humility is. And that's what loving God is. And then loving yourself, the ingredients are, prudence and temperance. Prudence is seeking purity and healthy stuff. Eating well, exercise, right thinking, being around the right environments, finding out what your body wants. They call it interoception, I believe it's called. It's being able to sense what your body needs, the good things for your body. And when you pay attention to it, it will guide you. Now, for a lot of people, because we've been eating so poorly for so long, we have an overabundance of pathogenic organisms, many of which were actually non-pathogenic organisms. People don't know this, but a lot of disease, Jesus says, don't worry about what you put inside of you. It's what comes out of you that will defile you. People don't realize that E. coli naturally exists in the body, and it's a productive member of the 30 trillion organisms that make up your body. However, when exposed to toxins, negative elements, bad thinking, the belief that you can catch disease, stuff like that, will actually turn them. And you can, if Google UK study saccharin or fake sugar and E. coli, and you'll see that, and this is known, folks. All the information's out there. We have to look for it. You have to let go of the pride and have that humility and understand that what you think there's so much more information out there. But look it up and you'll see. They did a UK study. They found that saccharin, all those fake sugars that everybody's taking with their diet foods because they're afraid of fat, they're putting that in there. And that combined with other things that lower your frequency, it's turning the bacterium that are inside of them that were normally productive members into bad members. And it's no different than heavy metals and lead and stuff like that being put in the water supply, or drugs going into an inner city, and you see a violence and increase of crime. Your body's just like that. Those are living organisms. You lower the frequency, you're going to get bad results. Look at water, for example. Water at a low vibratory state creates a haven for pathogens. By the way, to me, acidic is low vibratory state. It's low frequency. That's less creative force. So you'll have pathogenic algae. You'll have mosquitoes, things like that. They'll live in the swamp, and they will proliferate. And the mosquitoes didn't create the swamp, nor did the swamp necessarily create the mosquitoes. They were already there, but they created a breeding ground, an environment that was so hospitable to them and less hospitable to others that you see an overabundance of them. So, anyways, so prudence is recognizing what's good for your body and ignoring the pathogenic creatures that are screaming out to you, asking you for sugar and processed foods and stuff like that, which is all dead. Temperance is the ability to start discerning what is the right thing for me. And you can always tell what's the right choice because the right choice will be one that is backed by courage and not fear. Not the ego saying, I can't, I won't, and stuff like that. So and by the way, so each of the virtues actually has a corresponding sin with it. So prudence would be, its opposite would be greed, severe hunger, right? So you transmute that greed from severe hunger and need into prudence, which is a desire to create a healthy environment for your body. And then the next one, let's say, is temperance, right? So temperance, its opposite would be lust. So temperance is saying, okay, what in this present moment, what could I be doing? Could I be doing something that's seeking instant gratification? And just by the very nature of seeking instant gratification on a regular basis, you're going to find them, especially if it's if it's instant gratification from things that are outside of you, or the obtaining of things, you'll find the more you take, the more you need. And it's a never-ending path, and it will eventually damage you, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's coffee, anything that you're seeking to give you joy. Remember in the previous podcast we said, seek what you can do for the world, not what the world can do for you. So when you're lusting for things, it's not just a sexual thing. It's seeking instant gratification. It's seeking gratification from the outside world, when the reality is all of your joy comes from inside of you. The more you do that, you start to trick the body into giving away its power to that thing. And over time, you will lose more and more power, and it will start to destroy you, right? So the opposite of lust is temperance. It's saying, whoa. The activity that I want to do here, is it one that's seeking something outside of me to make me feel better, which is impossible, which leads down a path of an addiction, even if it's not a quote-unquote addictive substance, and will harm me? Or is the activity that I'm seeking to do, is it one that I want, right? So, and then the next one is that's good for me. So now the reason that people have lust is because of the next virtue or lack thereof, diligence, right? So the opposite of diligence is sloth, laziness. And so you'll actually see it. So someone will be lazy because if you get to the root of it, you'll realize, like if someone is seeking instant gratification, all right, so let's say someone's sitting here. First, the reason that they're going to develop lust is because their soul, their needs to create and their desire to build and just live a life that they're maxing out and incorporating the gifts that they've been given in this lifetime to be the best that they can be, they're not achieving it, and so their soul starts to suffer, and that feeling of suffering makes them seek out instant gratification. All right, they'll seek out the instant gratification, and then if they keep doing that, they'll actually start to hate themselves, and it can eventually go into gluttony. Gluttony is not just eating a bunch of food because you're a pig or anything like that. No, gluttony, and people could be glutton with alcohol, they could be gluttons with drugs, they could be glutton for punishment, they could be glutton, and that's really what glutton is. It's basically self-hate. All right, so really, when you want to get to the root of it, it's going to begin with this greed, this need. I have a need, and then the sloth is the belief that you can't do something or you will feel bad. Remember we talked about the Trinity? The ego is the one that tells you can't do things. It says, I don't want to because I can't. I don't want to because I believe. Sorry, I'm just bringing it up here. Oh, whatever. I remember it. I don't want to because I believe I can't because I will feel this way, and that's the illusion. It's the lie. And so the ego's not to be destroyed or killed. It's not a bad guy or anything, but we really want to recognize that. Remember, when you were born, like I said before, you could throw a baby in the water and it will automatically swim. Doggy paddle, I did. I know others that have. You take an adult who has acquired the belief that they need to be taught how to swim or something like that, they'll literally drown to death. So they say that truth will set you free. Well, that's our goal here. That's our goal here with the ego, our wounded baby bird, right? The gift that God has given us as beings of love to heal. And the way that you heal it is you become present. And a lot of people, when I used to hear, I'll speak for myself, when I used to hear people speak of being present, I thought it meant I was supposed to sit there and stare at the grass or something. And even throughout my ascension journey, I'm like, well, if that's the case, I felt like I was never present because I'm always watching my thoughts and my emotions and my feelings. And, I've learned that one of the greatest things you could do for yourself is continue to seek, ask, and knock. And when you're present, to me, being present is being present in my thoughts, in my emotions, watching them, knowing that I am part of a trinity, that I have an ego as a member of myself, right? I have my soul in the middle, and then I have the spirit, which is this untouchable, unseeable, undefined thing. And that's why they say we walk with faith, not by sight. Because when you recognize that you have the almighty power of the universe, the infinite super maxed out love, it will by its very nature be pure possibility, potential, energy, limitless creation. So you won't be able to see it. And in order for you to change and grow in your life, you need to be able to call from a force that you can't see. If you are trying to figure out what to do next, and you are not asking questions of that unknown source, of that thing you can't see or feel, and having faith in it, believing that you can ask and thou shalt receive all that one asks for. If you don't do that, you're really not creating, you are making. It's like someone picking up a stick and, some sinew or something like that and making a bow. They didn't create anything, they just put things together. It's important to be aware of that difference. And so the ego has never been bad. It gives us as love beings the opportunity to express the love of whatever you want to call it. You want to call it the love of God, the love of the universe, the love of your higher self, the love of your true self, the love of your core, the love of life, the love of energy, whatever it is. Tesla said that if you understand that everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, you will have the keys to the universe, and that is absolutely true. I'm going to give you guys a quick breakdown of what the difference is. So what is energy? So everything is a trinity. It has to be in order for existence. What you have is you'll have an energy end, an energy pole, like let's say you have the Earth, you have the North and the South Pole. One end will be the energy, the other will be the vibration. They are inverted opposites of one another, but yet they are still of the same body, right? So what's the difference? The energy is the least, and depending on what the item is, there will always be an energy component, an energy pole, an energy end. However, depends on what the item is, will be how much energy there's. So the energy component of the two will always be the least needy, the least defined, and the least limited. The least needy, the least defined, and the least limited. Think about it like, and then the vibration component is kind of like its reflection. So it is more defined, more limited, more needy. So it's kind of like when you look in the mirror. You would be the energy, the person that's standing here looking in the mirror, moving around. And the mirror would be the vibration. It's more limited, more needy, and more defined. It can't change itself. It is your reflection. And then the frequency is the conscious perspective in between those two, and its relative frequency of understanding to which degree of those two things it is. If it only thinks 100% that it is the energy, then it will become unlimited, unneedy, undefined, which means it is completely selfless. If it identifies only with the vibration, it will think it's more defined, more needy, and more limited, so it becomes very selfish. If it recognizes that it is all three, then it becomes self more. Right? Jesus said when you make in the Gospel of Thomas, which was removed from the Bible for many reasons, I believe, when you make the inside like the outside, the above like the below, the male like a female, then you will reach the kingdom of heaven on earth. That was a paraphrase. The energy is the male component. The vibration is the female component. You could look at the male component as electric. You could look at the female as magnetic. They form electromagnetic energy, and that is the form of all matter in the middle. I'll give you a couple more examples of trinities. You have an up and a down, and then you have your subjective awareness of where you fit in between those two. And they're all needed. All three are needed. I can't have an up and a down if there's not anybody who has a relative understanding of what up and down is and where they sit in that realm of up and down, or where the subject sits in the up and down. I can't have a left and a right without a conscious being's understanding of where it is relative to the left and the right. Take time. Past, present, future. All right. Which one do you think is the least the vibration, which is less energy? Which one is the vibration which is more limited, more needy, more defined? And which one do you think is the energy, which is less needy, less defined, less limited? And now remember, let's look at how time works. So time is like, imagine you have a perfectly still lake, and you drop a pebble in it. The pebble being dropped in it, but imagine like this pebble just appears and drops in there. That's the energy. It's the possibility of that pebble being dropped. That's the energy. As soon as the pebble hits the water, that's the future. And then when the pebble hits, actually this is not going to be that's not going to be a good example. It's just too confusing with the way time works, and anyways, I won't be able to do that way. Instead, look at that will work. Yeah, so that will work. So when you drop the pebble, the first ring that goes out is actually the past. And so as you look at the rings that are coming inwards, those are closer to the present. Right? The ones that are the very center of where that pebble hits the water is the present. And as the waves ripple outwards, the further the waves get away from the center where the pebble hit the water, the present, then the more in the past they are. Another way to look at it is like a tree. They call the center of a tree the heart. That's you. That's the center. That's the present moment. That's your soul in the middle of the body and the spirit. And the rings on the outside are actually further from what you are. And we've been confused. We've been looking at time like it's a line, or that it's inside of us, and it's actually the furthest thing from us. And it certainly doesn't define us. If the bark tried to define a tree as to its growth potential, it would never grow. Bark would say, we're 2 feet in diameter. That's what we are. That's what I am, so that's what we will always be. But that's not what happens. The tree grows. How does the tree grow? Well, the present is the heart of the tree. The past is the outer rings. And then miraculously out of nowhere, something appears, called forth in the center of the tree. And so the new center will end up being the future. And that's basically kind of how things work. And so because your past is the most needy, most defined, and most limited aspect of yourself, and the future is the least limited, least needy, least defined aspect of yourself, and then the present is your frequency. Right? So the future is your energy, the past is your vibration, and you are the frequency in the middle. Well, people have been living backwards, and live backwards, as I've mentioned before, is evil. We're looking to the past. We're looking to the body. We're looking to the ego. We're looking to the identity to define us and lead us. And in the Bible, they say it's like letting the tail be the head. So it's not evil by its very nature, but when you have this needy aspect of yourself and you think that is the head, you think you're a human having a spiritual experience instead of a spirit having a human experience, well, now you have the most limited, most defined, most needy aspect of yourself trying to direct your course, and you slowly decay because that's why in the Bible it says like you're being cut off from the vine, you'll die. You're cutting yourself off from source, and you're doing it with your own beliefs, that you're just thinking that you're a body, you're thinking you're the past, you're thinking you're the ego, you're thinking you're the identity, and that's it. And now you have nowhere to draw inspiration, and inspiration comes from the term in spirit. As I've said before, the word genius comes from the word genie, because they believe that these people that were able to come up with things out of nowhere that did not align with their previous knowledge must have a magical being that no one could see that was giving them information. And the reality, people, is you have been calling on the force of God, the universe, life, love, energy, your whole life, whether you realize it or not. But you're only doing it subjective to the degree that you believed you could. That's why they say all things are possible to them that believe it. And the funny part is because you are all three. You are the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. You are all three. The problem is that just like you are all three, you are both yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You are both your past, your present, and your future. However, because the future and your spirit and all those aspects of yourself, the energy, are by their very essence and nature undefined, unlimited, and unneedy, you can't see them. That's why we walk by faith, not by sight. And what's really cool is when you realize this, and it ripples outwards. So at your center, as small as a mustard seed, smallest of all seeds, or actually smaller than that, it's literally intangible, is this voice that comes out from you. It's the access to everything in the universe. And all you have to do is call upon it. And the Bible says this stuff. When we stop looking at God like some angry guy in the sky who wants to punish his children, and we start looking at it for what it really is. Greater is he that is within you than he is of the world. Unto him that's able to do exceedingly and abundantly beyond all that we ask or think. I and the Father are one. But the Father is greater than I. The Sphinx's riddle, it says, I'm going to paraphrase the heck out of this, but it's like, there's a Sphinx's riddle that's like, what is it that all men have faith in, but nobody will ever see, blah, blah, blah. The answer is tomorrow. But it's also could be the same thing as God. It's energy. Can't see energy. Energy is possibility. It's potential. We all have it. You used it a lot as a child. As you've gotten older, you've developed belief systems that you were the ego, instead of the ego was your opportunity to express the love of the universe to it. So we want to heal that. So it's very important that we identify that we are a Trinity. So it works like this, right? So the need itself is not inherently evil. It's it's the magnetic force that gives us purpose to create things. I had a video game, Grand Theft Auto, once, and I remember the first one that came out years ago. And I loved the game. I'd play it every day after work. And one day I got cheat codes. And one of the things about the game is like you progress and you start off and the cops chase you and you have one wanted star. You can get up to like 5. And then, as you're progressing through the game, you're getting more money and cooler clothes and better weapons and better cars. But you're earning them and it feels fun and it's good. For me anyways, in that game. And one day I got cheat codes. I could get all the weapons. And now this is like a whole city. You can go out and just do whatever you want. I was like, yeah, I got bazookas. I was blowing up all the cops. And you could do an indestructible code. And I'm telling you guys, I played it for like 45 minutes. I was playing that game every day. But when I got all the weapons and I got to do everything with no challenge, I lost interest. I never played the game again. Ever again. I didn't even buy the future games. I had no interest in it. I might have bought a future one, but I definitely didn't use cheat codes on it. So that's kind of like what it is that we created, these limitations are a gift to us. Because I truly don't believe the universe has limits. I don't believe that it's possible for you to have a big bang and an explosion and a universe that's created that would have limits. Because wherever that source was that created all of that is a limitless source. So the only limits that could be in a universe would be self-imposed. And because it's limitless, you have the ability to impose limits. Why would that be the case? Well, if you have the ability, if you have connection to source, you can create anything you want. You'd be so impartial, you'd have no desire to create anything. It's the question, like, what do you give a man who has everything that he needs? No thing. Nothing. You give him the experience of what it is like to have no thing, so that he has something to overcome, something to achieve. So when we stop looking at our egos as our enemies, our curses, the world around us, our challenges, and we realize now, it's very difficult to do that if you think you are the ego and you don't have this connection to source, God, love, the universe. You don't understand what you're doing. You don't have your intent set correctly, and you think you're just supposed to survive. Well, you're screwed. If you are stuck in the egoic mindset of thinking that winning is having lots of things and surviving, you already lost. You're gonna die. And everything you have will be gone. And you spend your whole life chasing. At the end of the day, the beautiful part is the past is the vibration. It's the ripple. It already happened. Right? It can't change itself. You can make more ripples if you want. So what's funny is you can heal your past, but your past can't heal itself. If you think you're your past, then you're doomed to repeat it over and over and over again. Right? So the goal here is just to realize, to start changing your perspective on your overall goal of life. Time is an illusion. You've already died. Everything that you've ever had is already gone. But you do have right now. And I actually believe you'll always have right now. I believe you go on after this anyways. But regardless, it doesn't matter. Because if you die and there is nothing, well, you don't even remember you died. Doesn't even matter. You're not like, oh man, I died. So, as far as you would be concerned, you lived forever. Because you never saw yourself die. So regardless, if you do die and that happens, or you go on forever, no matter how you look at it, because of the way the Trinity works, you will always be in the present moment, healing the past and looking into your center at the potential possibility for the future to heal you. And once you get yourself healed, you reach enlightenment in this lifetime and you fully understand that, wow, I and the Father are one. The Father is greater than I. I know what's in front of my face. Everything is just a projection of me. It's life living itself. It's a beautiful dance. I don't have to worry about tomorrow. I don't have to worry about yesterday. I don't have to create love. Its potential is in the endless force of creation. All I have to do is ask for it. But the way you have to do that is you have to disassociate yourself. You have to transcend the ego and realize that it is a member, it is a tool, it is a way for you to express love to it and then to the world. And as Confucius said, like I said before, I don't create, I just transmit. You don't have to even create anything. Life is very, very simple when you get this. And it takes time. I don't expect anybody to hear this one time and get it, but just allow it to sink in. You will not deal with tomorrow. There will be another version of you with new information that will deal with tomorrow. And you definitely don't have to worry about the past. You are not responsible for it. You are unable to respond to the past. You are only able to respond to right now. And with great power and love comes great responsibility. Choose love. Before you go to bed, say, I'm choosing to dream tonight about the things that will make the connections within my mind so that tomorrow I will wake up more in love. I and I alone am responsible for how much I tune into the frequency of love. No one else is responsible for how in love I am. The ingredients of love are courage. The powers of love are courage, wisdom, discernment, understanding. The actions of love are diligence, prudence, temperance, resolve, ambition, to be, to create, charity, passion. The actions of love to myself, and the actions to love to others are kindness, humility, patience, charity, compassion, gratitude, and flexibility. And I realize and that's why they say you give and you get. Just trust me. Choose love. First, love God, which is the all. Love your life. Choose. You don't have to do anything, just choose. Choose to have ultimate humility. And realize you didn't create yourself. You want to call it the energy of everything. The same energy is in you that is in me and everybody else. Same life that is in me is in you and everything else. Same love that is in me is in you and everything else. So that's the real truth. We are on this beautiful mosaic of life. You are a blue dot or a green dot, whatever your favorite color is. I'm a green dot, my favorite color. My dot is no better than your dot, and your dot is no better than my dot. It is part of the beauty of this crazy reality that anything exists at all. And just let go. Let go and choose love. And you'll realize that love will live you. That's why the Bible says I died on the cross with Jesus, and now Christ lives in me. Because Christ is love. And it is in all things. Choose love. All right, guys.